This is supposed to be a superstar session, but I gotta tell, you are the superstar being here 9:50 on the second day, so hopefully you had a good night sleep last night. Anyway, I'm Lauri Heikkinen and I'm the head of product at GameRefinery, and today I'm going to talk about contextual metadata and how to use it in UI targeting. And a little bit about the GameRefinery. So some of you might know us from a little bit different angle. So we've been working with feature level data. So we analyze games, break them down to a feature level, and then make the data actionable to game developers. So this is basically our bread and butter, our SaaS platform that we've been selling, and now we're moving towards the kind of contextual metadata, which is a kind of new angle for us. Now, how we do it is that we have dedicated teams of analysts for our major markets, which are US, Japan, and China. So the analysts play the games, they break them down, and then we refine the data. And you might have seen our subgenre categorization around the web. So we've come up with this subgenre categorization with 52 distinct subgenres that are based on the features that are in the game. Just we think that App Store and Google Play categorizations aren't enough. Subgenres make it much more actionable, and this is basically how we got started with the contextual metadata that we are now pushing out. So while we are mostly focusing on feature data, something that we heard time and time again from our customers was that, is there some way you could help us with UA data, or help us out so that we could improve our UA? And this kind of originated organically. So one of our customers, Future Play, they had been using our data, our subgenre categorization, to find games they would then try to target, try to bid on, and buy UA traffic from. And what they saw kind of makes sense is that when you buy traffic from a game similar to your own, on average, the quality of the traffic tends to be better. It kind of makes sense. So player is more likely to like a kind of similar type of games. And this is basically how we got started, and then the solution is contextual metadata, which we then brought forward from just the subgenre data. And basically the idea is to acquire higher LTV, better users, faster. So what we did is that we used our traditional analysis data, manual analysis that our analysts have been providing. We used that as a training set for a bunch of machine learning models. And the metadata consists of over several hundred data points for each of the games that we have analyzed. And we've basically covered all of the relevant games in the App Store using all of these models, and we built this huge database. And I'm going to, in the next few slides, show a little bit of how the data works. Again, the idea is that find similar games. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same game. In order to get good users, you don't have to target either games. It could be some other features of the game, maybe visual style, maybe there's PvP elements in the game, maybe there's storytelling that are actually tying it all together. And the only problem is that how to identify those games. So you usually rely on App Store genres or Google Play genres, or then you just try to come up with your list manually. Now, what we've been able to do with the metadata is that we've covered all of the games, and we can easily provide you with a long list of games. Like all of the game developers, they usually know their biggest competitors. Like I want to buy from Candy Crush Saga. Okay, well, that's not possible, but if you're able to tackle that long list, bid on those, it'll most likely yield good results as well. What does the contextual metadata do? So it's able to improve your kind of ad performance, quality of traffic, as I mentioned, but it also is able to enrich audience data. So if we're talking about ad networks or DSPs, they know about device IDs, where they've seen those device IDs. Now, we're able to, by using contextual metadata, we are able to build audience profiles for individual device IDs, which then puts it together and connects it to the advertising game. And yeah, as it's not based on personal data, it's totally GDPR and CCPA compliant, and there might be more and more privacy legislations coming in the coming year, so contextual targeting becomes more and more relevant as we go forward. Now, here's an example. I am sorry because of the font, so I'm going to walk you through. So this is actually one automated analysis that is straight from the dataset. So the game in question is Lords Mobile War of Kingdom. And this is the breadth of the data that we're covering. So in the left, you'll see the subgenre. So all of this is predicted by our models. So models said that it's 4X strategy game, which is correct. It's a little bit more casual take on the 4X genre than, for example, Game of War or King of Avalon. But then, on top of that, we are also predicting a plethora of different features, such as, well, predicted demographics, player personas, and motivations. These are all based on the rest of the data set that we've analyzed from the games. For example, Lords Mobile is very, very much male-driven, and from player personas, the biggest ones based on our analysis is strategist, a networker. Then in motivations, we have, for example, social, working with others, competing with others, and strategic planning and resource optimization. Then we got defining features. This is actually like the bread and butter that comes from our manual analysis, mostly. So we got PvP, strategy, exterminating, units, characters, PvP, and what have you. And then going to kind of a more visual side of the game, we got art genre and art style. So here we have historic fantasy art genre, art style cartoonish. Then we got moods and styles, so what's the kind of ambience of the game. We got excitement, colorful, adventurous, and so forth. So very, very vast amount of data that you can basically use to find similar games, or if you were to optimize maybe even targeting algorithms, this is all possible. Now, to a second game. So just to give you an idea of the differences, there's episode, choose your story, totally different game. Subgenre being interactive story, but the model also finds that there's a little bit of customization in it. Demographics is female-driven, player personas expressionist, and then we got like escapism, thinking and then discovering new worlds. Expression, what we have, customization, decoration, and so forth. Yeah, and from art style, again, modern and cartoonish, motion styles, stylish, feminine, and so forth. So, a lot of different data points. I mentioned about building an audience profile. Now, this is me, and this is the games that I've been playing during the past 3 years or so. Got 10 different games, and using the same data, I built a profile of myself just to see if it makes any sense. So we've got like Marvel Strike Force, AFK Arena, Best Fiends, Toy Blast, Pokemon Go, Idle Farming Empire, Homescapes, Gardenscapes, Clash Royale, and Summoner's War. Now, if we look at the profile, it kind of makes sense, at least to me. So even if we have 6 different subgenres there, if we look at the motivations and defining features, they are actually very, very similar in all of these games. For example, in motivations, we got thinking and solving, collecting treasure, stuff like that. And it actually predicts that I'm 58% male, which is kind of correct. Then we got defining mechanics like PvP, competitive league, guild mechanics, all of which I do usually enjoy. And when it comes to moods and styles and art genre, it seems like I do really have a type of a game that I usually like. So cartoonish, colorful, kind of easy to go, casual look and feel. So that's a few different interpretations of the data. Now, we talked about matching 2 games, or advertising game and the publisher game, or then advertising game and then a user if you know about the user and where you see them. But what we are also able to do is that we can analyze the ad creative using the very same models as we do for the games themselves. We can identify objects, identify art styles, looks and feels when the excitement happens in the video and so forth. Now our plan is to complete the whole cycle, being able to provide contextual data in order to basically just being able to analyze the fit between the whole flow when it comes to a UA and targeting. And key takeaways from the contextual data, metadata that we are providing is that it can improve ad performance and quality of traffic. Benefits both the advertisers who are looking to buy UA, as well as ad networks or DSPs who might want to enrich their own data. And then it also brings more transparency to ad performance, because most of the times when you're working with ad networks or DSPs or even Facebook or Google, it's really a black box what's happening there. And with contextual metadata, you're able to explain what could be the factors that are affecting to good traffic, at least on average, and especially in in-game advertising. Yeah, that was my talk about contextual metadata. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you very much. I do have a question for you. So I've got a game. I have no idea where my game falls in the middle of all of that analytic stuff that you're tracking. I'm guessing that GameRefinery, I can give you my game, I can give you my ad creatives, and you can analyze both and let me know which creatives are most likely to be appropriate for my game. Is that kind of what you're doing?
That's the kind of idea. So we're able to analyze all of the games out there if they have kind of relevant app store presence. So if you got screenshots, descriptions, all that, you're out there and you got videos, we can make the analysis for a game. And then we can calculate the fit and then find the rest of the relevant games that could be a good targeting kind of pool for you.
So you help me target an audience for marketing as well.
Yes.
As helping me pick the right creatives.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.